Here with Concordia head volleyball coach Scott Mattera to preview the 2014 season. Let's talk first about the productivity this off season. You certainly have had a lot of players do mission trips and things like that. But what do you like about what the team has been able to accomplish, and since the last time you actually played an official match?
Well, you never want to end the season with a loss, but most teams do. But the way we ended our season really left us with a hunger. It wasn't really a bad taste because we played really well down the stretch against a team that finished top 5 in the country. So we kind of had a glimpse of what we're capable of going forward, and it really built into some cool stuff over the spring. We committed to do workouts 6 a.m. in the morning, and kind of that shared suffering coming together was really a cool thing to see. Some people had some real breakthroughs, not just physically, but mental side of things, taking risks and understanding what a college workload really looks like and feels like. But probably most importantly was our team and program culture initiatives. We really focused on the intangibles. The chemistry between players and between the athletes and the coaching staff, and what that looks like, and what a great program and a great culture looks like. And it really paid some awesome dividends. Those of you that follow us on Facebook were able to see the process as we were posting some of those. And I feel like we've really all bought into that, and it's really going to make a huge difference going forward.
You've touched on it before, but what does it say about the character and the makeup of the team to have so many of your players that were going out and going all over the place for mission trips?
Well, it's one of those things that, those mission trips are amazing, and but really they're a symptom. They're a symptom of the type of people that we have in this program. You don't have to go overseas to be a great person and serve God in the way that you live. That's just what those young ladies chose to do, and it's incredible that they did that. But if you just hang around our girls, when they're working the ticket counter or working the concession booth, you can tell, that there's just something different, and it's pretty obvious what that culture is and where it comes from.
Now, this is probably a unique feeling for you. It's your third year, but you have every key contributor coming back from last year's team. How happy are you with the progress that the program has been able to make and to get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, we're proud of the work we've put in, but we're still at the point where we keep talking potential, and to me, potential is just another way of saying we haven't done anything yet. So, potentials get coaches fired. It's about the results, and our off the court results have been phenomenal in the classroom, and our spiritual life, and the culture and the chemistry here is absolutely fantastic. And last year was a solid step in the right direction. First 500 season in a little while, and but we haven't gotten over the hump yet, and that's where we see this going. But yeah, I'd say the progress that we're making in terms of reputation, in terms of the pools that we're swimming in terms of recruiting, the growth in our camps and things like that, just speak to a program on the rise, and that's a credit to the young ladies we have here and the support systems we have in place.
How big was that to have a winning season and just to build some confidence going into the next season, and to make that jump from 10 wins to 17 wins?
Well, it definitely helps in terms of the hope. You look at that and you say, wow, this is working. We are making progress. But again, we're not satisfied yet, and we won't be until we're competing for championships, not only GPAC but at the national level. And we believe very strongly that we can and will do that sooner rather than later. But that step in the right direction definitely gives you hope. Now, I won't lie, I don't mean to put more pressure on ourselves, but this is a key season for us to keep that momentum going from year 1 to year 2, that slow, steady build. We need to have a good season this year to show that all these initiatives that we've been working on are actually paying dividends on the court.
Now, looking at some individuals, it was pretty obvious you got a big shot in the arm from newcomers last year, like Paige Getz and Elena Cavanaugh, Claire White, Taylor Workman, and the list goes on. How much more comfortable and how much better can we expect them to be now that they're in their second seasons as Bulldogs?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? That's always the toughest thing to know. I mean, several of them had fantastic springs. Again, just in terms of, they had nice, freshman or transfer seasons in and whatnot, but that's not the focus. The focus is understanding your workload and understanding the life balance that it takes to compete at a championship level. And our juniors and seniors that have been around for a couple of years really took the ownership on that, and have sacrificed for this program and done amazing things to welcome those other players in. And to have the chemistry that we do with such a mix of young and old is something that we're very proud of and are definitely going to nurture. Do I think you're going to see big things from some of those kids? Yeah, I think you're going to see some major steps forward. But a lot of it's on the intangible side rather than, she gained 6 inches on her vertical or things like that. It's the mental side of the game and the dedication and workload level.
How impressed were you with the way Elena Cavanaugh kind of took over as the setter position as a freshman and really ran with it?
Obviously we love Elena, but I would shift the focus there back to the way the team and the program welcomed that and welcomed her. Really speaks to the maturity level of our group. Elena did awesome. I mean, obviously throwing a freshman, you're handing her the keys to the car and saying go, and are there going to be growing pains? Obviously. She's as physically talented as any setter I've coached, and that includes at the D1 level, but she's really working very hard to enhance her intangibles in terms of leadership and the boldness. She's such a nice young lady. I'm sure you've talked to her enough to know. Sometimes I need her to be not so nice, and she's learning how to manage that and the intangible sides of the game. But she's such a hard worker, and the girls respect her. It's a great thing going forward for us.
Now this year you'll have a much bigger class of seniors, a lot more senior leadership on the court. How helpful will that be to have some of them, and they've been around now in the program?
Yeah, again, we spoke to how bought in they were during the spring, because I think they got a taste of what it can be. And, I don't want them to leave without experiencing the tangible success. We've experienced a lot of the intangibles and the off-the-court stuff, but those guys deserve it, and I really want it for them this year. In terms of their leadership, that, like I said, they've done a great job, but I'm going to use this opportunity to challenge them even more, because it's going to be a huge key for us this season, how they, manage each other, because it's not always the coach. In fact, most of the time it's not the coach that instills that. It's your leadership structure, and I think we have the young ladies with the perspective to do that.
Stylistically, are there some things that you're able to implement differently now that you are farther along going into your third year?
Yeah, I mean, the main focus is cleaning up what we already do. When you've got that many young players mixed with older players and whatnot, there's a lot of timing issues and just some, everybody's kind of drinking from the fire hose, but you kind of want to slow the flow there. So, a lot of times in football they talk about quarterbacks getting it because the game kind of slows down for them. We're still going to play very, very fast, but the game should slow down for them mentally as we move forward and clean up. Sure, there's some new wrinkles we'd like to be able to add this year, in terms of a couple of new play set combinations and some different stuff with our middles and the way they transition and approach. And we'd like to use our back row attacks a little bit more, especially bringing Claire out of the middle and things like that. So sure, there's some different stuff we'd like to add, but more importantly, we want to perfect what we already do.
If you could run through kind of by position a little bit of what we should expect to see on the court. I know it'll probably look a lot like last year with so many returning players.
I was going to say, wow, how much time do you have? This could take a while, and that's a great thing. The depth at each position this year is beyond anything we've ever had, and there's going to be a lot of competition. Funny enough, I don't know what it's going to look like. We've got a lot of returners, but my goodness, everybody's been working, and some people have really made some strides. And there's some new kids that'll compete. On the outside, obviously Claire and Paige were both big players for us this year. Kelsey Dinkle had a nice spring, though, so she's really competing well at that position. At the middle, we've got three different options there, with Champ obviously having a great career and looking forward to a big senior year. Taylor Workman's one that I would point to as having a great spring and really having some breakthroughs. And then Annie Friesen coming in as a freshman out of Wichita. We're pretty excited about her potential as well. And just having three there really allows Coach to sleep well at night. Right side is really a position of strength for us now. Amanda Abbott coming back off injury, so we're very hopeful that she can get back to 100%. That's a tough injury to come back from, and she's worked really hard for it. So we're excited to have her back. Not only from a skill standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint. The girls really respect her. Tegan Skanes had a huge spring for us. She really started coming on at the end of the season and then continued that through the spring. She's hitting the ball as hard as anyone right now in the program, which is saying something right now. And then Shannon O'Hara, another freshman out of Colorado, is a pretty big-time recruit for us that will compete for playing time. Setter-wise, obviously, we already talked about Elena, but Libby Zagel, a returner that has played JV the last couple of years, just worked her butt off during the spring and has really gained a lot of respect from a lot of people. What am I forgetting? DS's, of course. And man, we've got a log jam there, and it's a really good problem to have, but that's the one I'm probably losing sleep over the most as to who's going to be in what positions. Obviously, Carly's been a stalwart back there, but with the emergence of Jamie Nikolajczyk and Kayla James, they've both really grasped that position and have really worked hard over the spring and into the summer here and are doing great. Kendra Dinkle, healthy and ready to go. She had an awesome spring, probably as good as anybody. So she's pushing right now. And then one of our big recruits for this spring or for this fall was Jocelyn Garcia coming in from Colorado as well, and we're excited about her future. So, whenever you make lists of players, there's always people you leave out, and they shouldn't be hurt. There's a lot of good players on our JV program that have made huge strides as well.
And what's you've maybe touched on it a little bit, but as far as the next step, I know you've been getting closer to kind of that big win where you beat a top 25 type of GPAC team. Is that would that be the signal that we've arrived? And
I don't know that that's the signal. One win here or there. Our goals are centered around kind of beating teams that we haven't beat in a long time. The big boys in the conference and whatnot. You talk about the GPAC conference, and everybody's, the GPAC's great in every sport, but it's even a little different in volleyball. When you really look at it, we had 3 teams in the GPAC finish in the top 10 in the country, and that's pretty ridiculous. And so we know that if we're competing for GPAC championships, we're literally competing for national championships. And starting to knock off some of those teams, pull those upsets. So some goals we have out there that are, I don't like putting hard numbers on wins because you really don't control that. You control how you play. But we're looking for our first 20-win season in a long time. We're looking to potentially host a first-round GPAC game. That would mean top 4. We'd love to make nationals. That's always, the number one goal. So, those types of things are not out of the realm of possibility this year. And if everything comes together, it could be a pretty special year.
How about the strategy behind scheduling? I know you feel like your team is coming along where you can maybe challenge yourself outside the conference even more. Now you start out pretty tough with the trip to California.
I'm not sure what the logic there was or the strategy, because we're going to play 3 top 20 teams and 2 that'll probably be in the top 5 out there, but that shows faith. That's faith in our ability to compete there, and I believe we can. But I never worry so much about our strength of schedule right now just because of how good the GPAC is. I mean, we're guaranteed 10 to 12 matches against national contenders just in our conference. But, we're taking on Bellevue elsewhere as well. We're taking on Oklahoma Baptist, who's a perennial top 10 elsewhere. So we've racked up our schedule pretty hard. But really the California trip was more about, we've got 3 seniors that are from California and whose families and friends don't get to see them play a whole lot. So I thought that was a pretty special thing to be able to do for them. And California's a pretty cool trip, and it's kind of a feather in our cap that a school of our size and a program that's developing can develop the resources and have the confidence to go out and do something like that. And we're excited about the trip. We're excited about the competition because, Lord knows we're going to find out right away where we're at and how good we are and what we need to improve on.
As we talk today, we're only about 3 weeks out from the first official match. What do you need to accomplish from between now and then? Obviously, it's about a little over a week until athletes report. Yeah.
Well, I need a vacation first of all, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But between now and then, it's just a bunch of prep work and administrative work. Obviously, you're worried about your training schedule and getting everything ramped up for that. Getting the whole logistics ready of moving everybody back in, especially when most of the school services aren't up and running yet because the general student population isn't back yet. So that includes meal times and dorms and things like that. But right now it's apparel, getting uniforms, and I just ordered 26 pairs of women's shoes, so I guess that's part of what I signed up for. But those are the things that you get taken care of, and they're important for the feel of the program. You want to have a professional type approach to it so that you come in and things just work and there's not a disorganized feel to it, because that gets you off on the wrong foot just mindset wise. So the work level we put in beforehand makes things run smoother, and we can concentrate on the things we need to concentrate on, the technical and the chemistry and the strategic.